We humans have grown on dry land. The land is everything. Its importance is paramount. That is why we of Team Magma are committed to expanding the landmass. It will create space for new species of Pokemon to evolve. It will give us humans more space to advance. That is Team Magma's vision. Pokemon's third-generation games are infamous for supposedly having too much water, and I'm sure Team Magma's Maxie would agree. Kanto, the home of Pokemon Red and Blue, has a total of 3 water routes, while Gold and Silver's region, Johto, has only 2. In a large departure from that, Hoenn's 34 routes are split evenly between 17 land routes and 17 water routes. This division is made to mirror the game's main plot, which revolves around the battle between Team Aqua and Team Magma, who want to use ancient legendary Pokemon to expand the sea and land respectively. From this decision, it was clearly important to Game Freak to make the land and sea routes equal. Except, they didn't make them equal. Not even close. See, the thing is, Game Freak doesn't want you to like the sea routes. They made several game design decisions. They made several poor game design decisions. And, we're gonna talk about them. Number 1, Pokemon biodiversity. Oh yeah, this is a numbered list. You all like numbered lists, right? Whenever you encounter a wild, random Pokemon, the game rolls on a random encounter table to determine what species of Pokemon appears. I would love to skip the technical details of how this works to spare you, so I will, for now. To show you an example of this, here's a simplified encounter table for Route 116, a land route. For the purpose of simplicity, we will be focusing only on the Pokemon Emerald table, but don't worry, it won't change the point I'm getting at. As you can see, there are 6 different encounters that all belong to different Pokemon families. The player can encounter Poochyena, Whismur, Tailo, Nincada, Abra, or Skitty, which is a combination of dark, normal, flying, bug, ground, and psychic types. Now let's compare this to a random water route. I rolled up Route 127, so let's take a look at that one. On this route, you can encounter... Wait, this can't be right. Tentacool, Wingull, or Pelipper. Wingull evolves into Pelipper, so really that's like 2 Pokemon. Not only that, but 60% of the encounter is Tentacool? The highest percentage we saw in Route 116 was 28% for Poochyena. That's crazy. Surely other water routes will be different, right? Spoiler alert, they won't. You see, with the exception of Route 129, and we will get to 129 very shortly, literally every other water route is exactly the same. Route 105, the same. 106, yep. 107, you know it. 108, 109, Even the ocean segments of routes that are otherwise considered land routes are just the same. Look at the comparison of this land encounter table and the surf encounter table of Route 118. On the land, there are 6 different species in 4 different family lines, while the surf encounter features Tentacool, Wingull, and Pelipper. Okay, but what about Route 129? I did say it was different, right? Yeah, they took 1% away from Pelipper and gave it to Wailord. The big problem with this is they didn't even program themselves an option not to do this. I know I said I wasn't going to go into the technical details, but too bad. See, the numbers I showed you earlier are only partially correct. To show you the real truth, we will open a perfectly legal ROM, don't question me, of Pokemon Emerald in Advanced Map, a tool for modifying Pokemon games. Cerebi displays Poochyena at 28%, with levels 6 to 8. At face value, you could assume that the probability of levels 6, 7, and 8 are all equal, but they aren't. You actually have a 20% chance to encounter a level 6 Poochyena, 4% chance to encounter a level 7 Poochyena, and a different 4% chance to encounter a level 8 Poochyena. Trust me, this is important. I will get to the point shortly. What you need to understand is that there are 12 different slots with varying probabilities of occurring. Slots 1 and 2 are 20% chance. Slot 3 through 6 are 10% chance. Slots 7 and 8 are 5% chance. slots 9 and 10 are 4% chance, and slots 11 and 12 are only 1% chances. Since Poochyena is in slots 1, 9, and 10, that gives it a total encounter chance of 28%. Makes sense? Right? Yeah? If it doesn't, I can't really help you. You may need to go back to 2nd grade. 12 slots doesn't give you a crazy amount of precision to design diverse routes, but the developers at Game Freak did an incredible job at making the regions feel lived in and different. Now, let's put this ROM hacking lesson to use looking at a sea route. Once again, we will pull up Route 127. What the fuck is this? Where are my 12 slots? Okay, I should stop being so flippant. What you see here is the encounter table for all surfing encounters, not just ones done at sea. You see, Game Freak, in their infinite wisdom, restricted the surf encounter table to only have 5 slots. The likelihood of each of these slots are 60%, 30%, 5%, 4%, and 1% respectively. This restricted the designers from having any level of biodiversity in their oceans. When 2 of the 5 slots make up 90% of the encounters, you're screwed before you even begin. How do you make your oceans feel full of countless different unique species when the player will only ever see 2 of them? I cannot stress this enough. This is a terrible decision. This chart continues to be the design up through Generation 5. It's changed in Generation 6, however, Game Freak failed to use their newfound powers to create any interesting surf encounter tables in X and Y.
Nice.
But that doesn't tell us why every sea route is the same. For that, we should transition to number 2, biomes. Most Pokemon games have a wide variety of biomes for Pokemon of different kinds to live in. Forests, mountain, caves, deserts, wetlands, coastlands, tundra, river, seas, even volcanoes. But do you notice what I just did? I listed 8 different land biomes and only 1 ocean biome. The thing is, oceans are incredibly diverse, but Game Freak treats every saltwater biome exactly the same. Subnautica is an action-adventure survival game that takes place entirely underwater ***. There are many diverse biomes that house a wide variety of different flora and fauna. Each biome is very different and it is clearly very obvious that Unknown Worlds Entertainment clearly put a lot of thought into making them unique. There will be some very minor spoilers for Subnautica here if you haven't played it and want to play it at some point, so please skip this segment and go to the timestamp displayed on screen. The game begins with the player in the Safe Shallows biome. The Safe Shallows biome is, well, shallow and safe. Sue me. It's also full of colorful coral reef. The fauna in the biome is mostly passive, and the clear waters allow for a long range of vision, which gives the player a sense of safety. Moving out from the biome, you encounter the kelp forest, which has plenty of kelp that blocks visibility, which makes it harder to spot predators. Because of that, stalkers inhabit this biome to hunt smaller fish. Going even further, you encounter the grassy plateaus biome, which has the first really aggressive fauna you will encounter in the sand shark, which buries itself in the sand to ambush prey. Above your head, you will see the majestic reefback leviathan coasting by. I barely touched the surface of this game, but I've already showcased 3 very unique biomes that all exist within a stone's throw of each other in the same ocean. They all harbor different life and have distinct visual identities. There are plenty more biomes with unique and diverse flora and fauna, but we should get back to Pokemon as this is a video about what Game Freak did wrong. No wait, does wrong. I'm not letting Scarlet and Violet off this hook either. The problem I am showcasing is this. There is no visual diversity between different sea routes in Pokemon. I will display a Pokemon Emerald screenshot from a sea route, and I want you to tell me which route this is. Seriously, pause the video right now and comment where you think this route is in Hoenn. You don't need to tell me the route number, just describe its relative location, like south of Slateport or west of Moss Deep. I'll wait. All good? You commented, right? I'll know if you didn't comment. Cool. I bet you guessed wrong, though, because that's not a screenshot from Pokemon Emerald. That's a screenshot from Pokemon Fire Red. See, you didn't even notice, did you? The thing is, when I show you a land route in a Pokemon game you have played, you will almost immediately recognize it and remember it. Route 119 in Hoenn is a personal favorite of mine, but countless others are instantly recognizable. The only sea route that is unique in its design is the worst one. Oh wait, that's 3 routes, not 1. What was the purpose of making this 3 routes? Oh right, we needed to get to that quota of 17 routes. Modern Pokemon games aren't immune to this either. Scarlet and Violet Seas are incredibly samey. Last I checked, the Mediterranean Sea and the Atlantic Ocean are very different bodies of water. But it wouldn't be so bad if there were interesting things to find in the sea routes. And for that we need to move on to... Number 3. Dungeons. Pokemon games are filled with a large variety of dungeons. Dungeons in Pokemon games are defined as locations that have navigational and or battle challenges. Everything from Viridian Forest and Diglett Cave to Silphco and the Pokemon Tower are all dungeons. Let's be real, most water dungeons in Pokemon suck. Shoal Cave has an interesting gimmick with the tides, but the actual design of the dungeon is uninteresting. And the Seafloor Cavern is just awful. Trust me, if you've played these games, you know. The only interesting sea route dungeon is the Abandoned Ship. These dungeons have nothing over Meteor Falls or the Team Aqua hideout, which for the purpose of this discussion, I don't think we can fairly classify as a sea route dungeon as it is located in a city. I could go over Pokemon dungeon designs, but this video would be twice as long. If you want that, let me know in the comments. But ultimately, we can put up with boring locations as long as they are quick to traverse. And that is our cue to transition to... Number 4. Trainers. Okay, let's be real. Trainers in a vanilla Pokemon game just kind of suck. None of them pose enough of a challenge to be interesting, and for the most part, they're just a source of EXP while you make your way to the next gym. As you get later and later into a game, they become more and more of an annoyance, interrupting your game as you try to make your way to your next destination. At least wild encounters can be avoided with the use of repels, but trainers have to be dodged. Right.
If you go to the far right, she can't see, and you should be able to go up over her and get less chance of her seeing you.
Nope, she rotated just
She
as I
didn't stand
just...
that way.
She stayed just as I walked in there! Most land route trainers are static, although some of them roam or spin. Too many sea route trainers are roamers or spinners. Not to mention, Pokemon variety with sea route trainers is as abysmal as the random encounter table. Oh yeah, I enjoy finding Tentacool and Wingull, except in a trainer battle that I can't run from. Land routes aren't immune to this either. Early game forests are full of bug catchers with only bug Pokemon, but at least when you leave the forest, you encounter a hiker in the mountains with rock Pokemon. On sea routes, you have fishermen, triathletes, and swimmers that all just have water Pokemon. There's the occasional cool trainer or black belt on the small islands, but you so rarely encounter them unless you're actively seeking them out. Which you aren't. At the end of the day, you're just fighting the same Pokemon over and over, and it's boring and uninteresting. See, that's the problem. The sea routes, they're all boring and uninteresting. At the end of the day, these were all fixable problems. They are all fixable problems. Sea routes don't have to suck. They can be fun and interesting. Game development is about asking questions and finding out why things don't work. The real questions. Ultimately, I think the question shouldn't be, is there too much water? It should be, why does it have to suck? Thanks for watching. There are plenty more biomes with unique and diverse floral. I have that in my... It's in the script as floral. What the fuck?